There are rare moments when the British Parliament finds itself brushing against the veil of monarchy, and this week is one of them. MPs from across the political spectrum, led by SNP's Stephen Flynn, the remarkable Stephen Flynn, have moved to lodge a formal parliamentary motion calling for Prince Andrew to be stripped of his dukedom, a move as constitutionally intricate as it is morally charged. I'm afraid Stephen Flynn's proposal will not go anywhere, but it's certainly headline stuff. At the heart of the matter lies a tangle of law, symbolism and accountability. The SNP's early day motion carries little formal power, as I say, but immense moral weight. It is one of the few parliamentary instruments that allows MPs to speak indirectly about the conduct of a royal, since standing orders forbid open criticism of the Crown or its members in debates. Flynn's argument is direct. If Parliament can legislate to strip titles from German princes who sided with the Kaiser in 1917, it can surely act against a royal who has brought public life into disrepute through association with Jeffrey Epstein. The government, however, stands by convention. The Business Secretary Peter Kyle and Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson have both said this is a matter for the palace. Labour's line, endorsed by Ed Miliband, is that Parliament should focus on other business, while the royal family itself should determine Andrew's fate. It's a familiar dance of constitutional politeness. The government hiding behind royal prerogative, and the monarchy hiding behind parliamentary timetables. Yet the political optics are dreadful. The revelation that Andrew has lived rent-free for over 2 decades in the 30-room Royal Lodge in Windsor, paying a peppercorn rent of 1 if demanded, at a time when the public is tightening its belts, is almost impossible to defend. His £1 million lease and £7.5 million refurbishments pale in moral significance beside the £12 million out-of-court settlement paid to Virginia Giuffre, who continues to allege beyond the grave that she was trafficked to him as a teenager. And her ghostwriter, Amy Wallace, has called any formal removal of his titles a symbolic victory for survivors, and symbolism is precisely what politics trades in. Rachel Maskell, the Labour MP for York Central, has revived her 2022 proposal for a titles removal bill. She suggests a simple clause giving the monarch the power to strip royal or peerage titles by proclamation. It's already implicit in the original early 20th century bill, but it's a humane constitutional safeguard, she argues, to prevent future scandals of this kind. Maskell speaks for her constituents in York, where polls show overwhelming support for removing Andrew's association with the city. It must be traumatising for survivors, she says, to see these matters endlessly resurface. Let's deal with it once and for all. Others go further. Nadia Whittome from Labour's left wing has accused the government of cowardice, saying Andrew at Mountbatten, Windsor, should not be permitted to hide behind voluntary renunciation of mealy-mouthed statements. Liz Saville-Roberts agrees, arguing that public funds and royal privilege have long shielded him from consequence. Even within the royalist press there's unease. The monarchy, they argue, cannot claim moral authority while retaining the trappings of privilege for one of its most tarnished figures. There is, of course, a constitutional irony here. Andrew's titles, Duke of York, Earl of Inverness, I forget the other one, were conferred by his mother and cannot legally be rescinded without an Act of Parliament. Yet the government insists that it would only legislate if requested by the King. Thus we have a circle of deference, Parliament waiting for the monarch waiting for Parliament, and both waiting for the storm to pass. But it will not pass. Virginia Giuffre's posthumous memoir has reignited the scandal, and her descriptions of being trafficked against her will, and her claim that Andrew's team sought to hire internet trolls to harass her online, have stirred fresh outrage. Buckingham Palace is reportedly braced for further revelations. The timing could not be worse. The monarchy is still adjusting to Charles III's reign, and the public's patience with royal excess has worn thin. The practicalities of stripping Andrew's titles are, ironically, straightforward. A short bill could be passed within weeks. The 2022 Councillors of State Act, which allowed Princess Anne and Prince Edward to deputise for the King, gained royal assent in just 20 days. The legislative machinery exists. What is lacking is political courage. So what does this episode tell us about modern Britain? It reveals the uneasy balance between monarchy and democracy, between inherited privilege and public accountability. It also exposes how parliamentary restraint, the idea that MPs should not question the crown, is now rubbing against the moral expectations of a 21st century electorate. The people, after all, no longer whisper about such scandals. They tweet them, they post them, they demand redress. In the end, the issue is not about property privilege or even punishment. It's about moral clarity. And the monarchy as an institution relies on public trust. Every time Prince Andrew's name resurfaces in the headlines, that trust erodes a little further. For many, stripping his titles would be an act not of vengeance but of hygiene, a cleansing of a stain on public life. The question then is whether Parliament will act, or whether it will once again retreat behind polite constitutionalism. History suggests the latter, but history too has a way of forcing change when institutions resist it. The motion to strip Prince Andrew this morning of his titles may yet carry the force of law, but it carries the force of public conscience, which is bigger. In the long run, that force may prove far more powerful.